Hello and welcome to another episode of Just Some Guy Earning Achievements, where I, Just Some Guy, earn achievements. In the last part, we finally found our dad and saved him from an idiosyncratic nightmare, and in this part, we will follow him as he continues his research into Project Purity. We return to the science lab whereupon our dad and Dr. Lee have a discussion about brains over brawn. Dr. Lee is unconvinced that the Gek will work, but our dad has more points in speech and convinces her to assemble a team and head to the Jefferson Memorial so they can get back to work on Project Purity. Dr. Lee thanks us for finding our dad and he tells us it will be good to work side by side together. I hope nothing goes wrong. Once back at the Jefferson Memorial, our dad asks if we could go inside and deal with the resident bullies. Heading down into the sub-basement, we find a bevy of super mutants and reduce them to a bloody mess. Returning back outside to our dad, we tell him the coast is clear and he says he is proud of us. I sure hope nothing goes wrong. Once inside, our dad quotes the Bible again as if we were a toddler, but this time explains that Project Purity was our mum's dream, one that would provide the wasteland with fresh, purified drinking water. The project was abandoned shortly after our birth and all those years have led to some decay within the facility, so it is up to us to head back into the sub-basement and clean the place up. We start by turning on the flood control pumps and then are tasked with replacing some fuses. Upon returning to our dad to grab them, he takes a moment to say he is proud of us and that we are a good person. I really hope nothing goes wrong. Back down in the sub-basement, we place the fuses and access the mainframe. Everything is almost ready, but our dad gives us one final task before returning to him. We need to clear a blockage in one of the intake pipes, so we head on through and turn a valve. However, after we do, some unexpected guests arrive. Unable to return the way we came, we head deeper into the pipe and return to the sub-basement where we take on our first Enclave soldier. Sporting a laser rifle and some sturdy armour, they prove to be quite a match, but nothing a close-range combat shotgun can't deal with. Back in the rotunda, we find our dad and a red shirt trapped in the central chamber with some Enclave soldiers and their leader, Colonel Autumn. The Colonel demands that Project Purity be handed over to the Enclave and that our dad and his team assist with making it operational. Our dad tries to blow holes in the Colonel's plans and, in return, he blows a hole through the red shirt. With no options left, our dad agrees to Autumn's demands, and then, something bad happens. Dr. Lee tells us there is nothing we can do to save him as the chamber has been flooded with lethal levels of radiation. Instead, she says we need to escape via an old abandoned tunnel and leads the way. Once inside, we traverse through the tunnels, fighting Enclave soldiers and feral ghouls, eventually leading everyone to safety. Well, almost everyone. At the end of the tunnel, we find refuge with the Brotherhood of Steel. We emerge back out into the wasteland right in front of their base, the Citadel. Dr. Lee does her best Karen impression through the intercom, which grants us access inside and earns us the achievement, the Waters of Life. Inside the Citadel, Dr. Lee instructs us to find Scribe Rothschild, who should be able to help us with our search for a Gek. He says we may be able to locate one on an old Vault-Tec computer, and, as it happens, Vault 87 was supplied with one. We return to Rothschild and tell him about our findings. He takes us to a nearby map which shows the location of the vault, but tells us that we cannot access it due to extreme levels of radiation. However, when we ask him for an alternate entry, he mentions a nearby cave system called Lamplight Caverns which may provide another way in. So we head back out into the wasteland, once again heading far west. On our journey we come across a group of super mutants, but for the most part they were harmless. We arrive at the caverns which are known as Little Lamplight, and inside we find a disgusting little shitboy with a potty mouth. Although we try to explain our business, we are told no mungos allowed. We may not have the speech skill to convince him, but we do have the barter, as we offer to rescue some of his friends in exchange for passage to Vault 87. They were captured by slavers from Paradise Falls, so that's where we're headed next. On our way we come across rad scorpions, Enclave, and sometimes both. Once at Paradise Falls, we meet the famous grouse. Just like at Little Lamplight, we are denied entry, and, once again, our lack of speech fails to persuade someone. Luckily for us, Grouse doesn't identify as a child, so we persuade his head to leave his shoulders and let ourselves in. Inside, they had no idea what they were in for. For a few seconds, this place was Armageddon.
There was a firefight!
After making a bloody mess of Eulogy Jones, we pick up our third bobblehead, the one that ironically could have helped avoid all this in the first place. Once all the slavers are dead, we find the kidnapped children and follow them back outside, whereupon we earn the achievement Rescue from Paradise. Fast travelling back to Little Lamplight, MacCready allows us to enter and shows us the way to Vault 87. The way through is crawling with super mutants, including our first master, who gets a little too close for comfort. Pressing on, we earn another achievement, picking up the trail, before finding ourselves in Vault 87. The vault, like much of the wasteland we've explored, is home to plenty of super mutants, which is to be expected, as this is where they were created, thanks to the Forced Evolutionary Virus, or FEV for short. However, not all of the inhabitants of Vault 87 are mindless, as we eventually come across Forks, a super mutant who displays intelligence. He says he knows we are here for the Gek and offers to retrieve it for us from its highly irradiated chamber in return from freeing him from his cage. Forks obviously has a better speech skill than us because we make haste to free him, so much so that we release all the prisoners, including a centaur and a Sid, who's vicious. Excited by his newfound freedom, Forks agrees to the deal and leads us to where the Gek is, taking sweet revenge on his fellow vault dwellers. Once at the Gek chamber, Forks keeps his promise and retrieves it for us, but sadly this is where we part ways. For now. With the Gek in our possession, we hightail it towards the vault exit, but get ambushed by Colonel Autumn and the Enclave. We pass out and reawaken inside an interrogation cell with the Colonel. He demands the code for the purifier and we tell him we don't know it, but he doesn't believe us, and I don't blame him, our speech skill has failed us multiple times this part. The President kicks Autumn out of the room and requests that we come and meet him. After unlocking our restraints, we earn the achievement Finding the Garden of Eden, and with a good chunk of the main story completed, that'll do for this part. Thank you kindly for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and if you want more achievement related content, consider subscribing. Hopefully you join me again for the next part, where we wrap up the main story and a handful of achievements along the way. Until then, take care.